Did you, how did you come to find out about Raw and all the fun stuff that goes along with that?
Oh my God. Okay, it's a little trip down history lane. I've been juicing since I was a kid. I thought that was some cool stuff.
I started juicing when I was a kid.
I know it, and a lot of people don't. I was in the 4th grade, and my dad got a juicer, and we went to somebody's house that had these huge organic carrots, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so, like, my obsession is health food stores. Like, all of my childhood, everywhere we go, I always have to find all the health food stores so I can go there, because I've just always loved it. And gee, God, it's gonna be a heck of a story. I found out about Dr. Schultz about 11 years ago, and I studied all of his tapes, and he had the Incurables program, and he mentioned raw foods and stuff, and he told how to make your own herbal tinctures and elixirs and all of that. And so I started making some. I made all kinds of stuff, like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. And he planted that seed for the raw thing. And at that point in my life, to me, I just thought that was more salad or juice. To me, raw was salad and juice. I didn't get the gist of what it was still old school thought. And that's what I tell all my friends that still think that raw is nothing but salad and juice. I'm like, that's old school. You don't have to hold your nose and sling it back. Things are fantastic now. But that kind of planted the seed, and I started looking, and then I'm not sure who came in next into the picture. It seems like I saw an interview with Giuliano, and I was like, man, he is out there. But he's right! And I was obsessed with it at that point. And I had gotten his book, and that was way over my head. But, a lot of what he said made so much sense. And then there were the internet days. And so, it's kind of they all came together at about the same time. Because then there was Shazzy, who had been on the internet forever. Or so it seemed, and I read her blog that David Wolf wrote with some other people. I'm so sorry. And they were naked in a tree. And I remember I didn't even have the money for the book, and I stood in the store and read the book. And now I don't even know what the book is. I feel so bad because I've got like everything else in the world now. But I knew who he was, and and it all just started with me trying to piecemeal stuff together because of the seed that was planted. And I think it was really planted when I was really young, because I grew up thinking everybody knew who Dr. Christopher and Dr. Jensen were, and they don't. And I thought everybody knew who they were. So the seed was planted with all of that, and then I got really ill, and probably had been, and probably in the back of my mind really realized it, and I kind of sort of knew it, and then it just really became really foremost. And I had an autoimmune disease, and I was trying to take. No one believed me. I went through 8 doctors. No one would help me, and I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. And I knew that the little bit about raw that I was doing and the herbal stuff that I did was not enough, and it wasn't cutting it. When you're really sick like that, people a lot of times they just don't believe you, and most people, no one believes. And I didn't talk about it. I'm not that person that is outwardly flat. If I'm out in public and everything, I'm always smiley because I'm happy to see everybody, and I was still like life of the party. I was doing everything, but I would crash and be sick for days. I was a weekend sick person. Every weekend, sick all weekend. And then no one could help me, and I went through chelation and everything, and that that helped a whole lot. And then I, really started changing more of my diet than I did. And then another big pull for me that really cemented everything, and when I really started just throwing my whole life into it, was when my dad was sick, and he had pancreatic cancer. And he survived 4 years. And I decided at that point that I was just going to shut up. And I was not going to talk about raw foods or anything else like that anymore. I was just going to be an example. And I was just going to do whatever it took to get there, because I knew I needed it. And I would, however, when my dad would be asleep, I would pull my computer up with my little podcasts and stuff on it. I would play Victoria's Kavinskas. I would play David Wolf, while he was sleeping. So he would hear that. And so, I really, that's when I started doing serious fasting, like 40 days at a pop, and seeing a lot of benefits with it. And that's kind of, where I came with the whole thing. And in a little bit of a nutshell, because it's a really detailed story. And I had a lot of stuff to happen in my life. I don't feel like my story is any more special than anybody else's. Everybody has stuff. Everybody goes through, really hard times. And I did. And I know what to use as a background. And my big belief in raw foods and everything, but it's not everything. And I will be real honest to say, one of the things that drew me into raw foods at the very beginning of when I really started traveling, in 2007 is when I started going to big events and stuff like that, is I considered these people to be the master manifestors. They were manifesting health and the glow, and it was nothing like raw foods is today, in my opinion. I think it's kind of lost some of that. As it's gotten a little bit bigger, there's a lot more people that are very adamant about, you should do it this way or you're wrong. I think you should listen to your body and do what your body asks for. And when I first started into going places, everybody was so loving, and that's what I wanted. I knew I wasn't alone anymore. That's what I wanted. And so that was a huge draw for me. And so I've looked to kind of recreate that any way possible. And now here we are.
Yeah.
We're about to have our first big retreat.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And it's kind of been basking in the glow. It's kind of an emotional dang, Andrew. It's kind of an emotional thing for me, because it's something that I've looked to recreate for a long time. That's the draw for me. The love and the acceptance of whoever and wherever they are on the path.
Yeah.
And we're doing it.
Yeah.